The reform movement I am talking about today is the workplace reform. The workplace reform was to get rid of poor working conditions and to increase wage. Overall, it was to give the workers better working conditions and better places to work. This all led to the creation of unions. A union is an organized association of workers formed to protect and further their interests. Unions tried to solve unsafe working conditions, low wages and long hours, and child labor. These issues existed because companies would hire little kids so they could do their jobs that older adults couldn't do, such as getting their hands in smaller places. Some of the children died on the job. Generally, children had a higher death rate at work than most adults. More than 50% of the children worked in hazardous jobs. They had no rules against how long the workday had to be or how much the workers had to get paid. Nothing was ever put in place in case of fire or how clean the workplace had to be. The unions went on strike until they got what they wanted by using collective bargaining. This connects to today's society because without the form of labor unions, people would not have clean working environments. Also, children could be working today instead of going to high school. In the workforce today, there is still many issues that need to be solved. Today, people can still work on the workplace reforms because during a school day, some kids work late and then they go home and they do their homework at such a late hour that the next day that they can't focus due to being very tired and overworked. They should only be able to work till 6. Henry Ford, from 1864 to 1947, he was the founder of the Ford Motor Company. Ford pioneered the use of the assembly line, helping to reduce and make cars more affordable for the American consumer. Henry Ford is related to workplace reform movement. Henry Ford paid his workers $5 a day wages. He tried to give his workers a better workplace compared to other jobs. He is a store owner and he can pay his workers what he wanted pre-union laborers, but he wanted to give them good pay. Henry Ford paid his workers $5 a day wages. He tried to give his workers a better wage compared to other jobs. However, he still had dangerous working conditions. He helped get even better laws on the workplace because people saw what happened with the turnover rates. More of his workers went on strike, which helped create new laws. The presidents of the Progressive Era are Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, and Howard Taft. Theodore Roosevelt was a leading political figure of the Progressive Era, fighting corruption, and the power of monopoly trusts. Roosevelt tackled corruption and patronage in the New York police, U.S. civil service, and businesses. As president, he was active in signing legislation aimed at progressive ideals. He sought a middle road or square deal for the conflicting demands of capitalists and labor. Woodrow Wilson was a Democrat and leading progressive. Under his presidency, he passed many progressive bills, including a graduated income tax, Federal Reserve Act, antitrust legislation, and federal support for agriculture, and the beginnings of a welfare state. In international affairs, Wilson was an idealist who sought to create a League of Nations after the end of the First World War. During his presidency, laws on prohibition were passed. The next president, William Howard Taft, served as president from 1909 to 1913 and was seen as a successor of the reforming Roosevelt. Although he's often considered less distinguished than Roosevelt, Taft did quietly legislate against monopoly trusts and advanced other progressive causes. After his presidency, he served as Chief Justice and supported the idea of the international peace. Theodore was making the square deal to make everything fair for everyone. Wilson was making fair competition for other runners. Taft tried to pass laws against monopolies. All of them tried to help progress movements, to help the country, and to have everyone have a fair chance to help have a better country. They helped in different ways. For example, Theodore made everyone have a fair deal, while Wilson made it so every state had two different representatives. Taft helped against monopoly trust. Each of them helped in different ways. Each of them helped different causes, but they all helped to make this country greater. I think Wilson had the most impact because he gave each state two representatives, more of a say in the government, and he helped unions with different laws. The women of this time period were not allowed to vote. The women weren't allowed to participate in public affairs or politics. Women would protest out on the streets and different places, such as outside of the White House, to get their voice heard. Some even took it to court to try and get them to vote. The 19th Amendment was added to allow women to vote. Women are now allowed to vote and can participate in public affairs and do the same jobs as men. Baseball games are known as America's pastime, which started in the Progressive Era, which helped people get out. As more people came into the country, people needed more entertainment and ways to socialize. It also changed some other sports, making them more popular to go see. People should go experience it because it gives them a time to socialize and get out more. It also allows them to spend more time with family and friends. This affected America because it made people more social and go out more for entertainment, also had more sports popularized. It helps people socialize. Today, sports have become more popular to see. People can see more sports. It also changes what we do on certain days and help people band together behind their favorite teams. Thank you for listening.